I just started my recording multiple times, apparently. So, sorry, I have to do this again. Officially, good afternoon. Welcome. Options Income Launchpad Weekly Market Wrap. I'm Scott. As always, what we do is for education, illustrative purposes only. The information provided is not intended as a recommendation to buy or sell anything. We're not brokers or advisors, so we don't give personalized investment advice. Decisions made on the platform should be done so at your own risk. Yada, yada, yada. Steven said, let's dive right into market analysis. I agree. Let's posture. Market analysis, posture, mindset for trades. I would say you probably aren't carrying many bullish trades right now. Maybe some bears, maybe some in and outs. Any, let me know what's coming next week. We'll go through our whole list. We're wrapping up section 6, record keeping, which means we can move on to section 7, analytics. Okay, let's go. I'll tell you, I'm actually seeing a lot of this. Strong uptrend, minor pullback, still above the 50. Yeah, I think we definitely could see some of these turn into bounces early next week. Let's actually start with the market. I said I'm going to start with that, but I always start with whatever's in front of me. It's ADD, I guess. I don't know. Let's go to the SPY. From a posture standpoint, let's go down the row. Weekly. Amen, John. He literally took the words out of my mouth. Literally took the words out of my mouth. It stayed above the line. That's it. That's all we need to know. That's our score. 100%. I agree. No change there. Unless something nasty happens here in the last 45 minutes, I don't expect it will. I agree that's going to hold. I think I'm going to leave my score on the long term alone. Doug added some puts today. It's still showing signs of selling for sure. Let's drop to the 6-month daily. Couple of things about it. Number one, it doesn't look like it's going to add another volume day. It could. We've got 45 minutes left. Average is 85 on about. Let's round up to 85 million. We're at 67. So we need 18 million more in the last 45 minutes. Then we need another 4.25 on top of that. So we actually need about 22.5 million between now and the end. I think we're going to end up closer to average, maybe a little above, which means this is not going to score. Now, even if it scored, as it stands now, we're only down 0.35. So it would actually be a tie. It's not much lower than this. So that would be a tie. Okay. SPY. Yeah, Doug, I don't think there's any flaw in your thought process. You can see it's certainly rolling down. Does it get some strength from the long-term trend? Do we see the short-term sellers continue to push it? There's certainly a little bit of an ebb in the selling pressure and not a big push lower today. But certainly I would say this, sellers have the floor. Right? Sellers are in control. They have the floor. Okay. Okay, let me see. So we've done... Whoa, oh, sorry. And for me, as we look at, this is this week. This is this week. What have we done? We started here. We're ending here. We pushed up a little bit. Couldn't get very far. Dropped back down. I would say this to me represents a lower high. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take that last quarter point. Tell me how you guys see this one. So this long term is going to stay the same for me, but short term I'm taking it to a straight zero. I'm taking it to a zero. We'll go ahead and I'll wait. I'll do it later. Thoughts? Anyone else see it the same way? Which is not good. We're continuing to deteriorate. Doug agrees. Stephen D agrees. So as it deteriorates, what does that say? It says more puts, less bullish inclination. Stephen's going to drop. Okay, Stephen's going to drop his. And you can see, some would argue that this is a zero and this has started to go negative. But you know that we're always a little conservative. We're always a little conservative with our short-term trend scoring. So let's take a specific look at volume. So that tie is also going to drop off. So we're going to be left with a buy and a sell. These two kind of cancel each other out. And then over here, we've got 4 sells and 1 buy. For me, at best, it's a minus 0.25. And if anything, is leaning more to a minus 0.5. You'd be hard-pressed to make an argument to me that I would be like, yeah, I agree with you. If you're like, that looks neutral. Does it look neutral to you? That's my thought with volume. Weigh in. Where are you guys? Already negative? More negative than me? Okay, 0.5. So I think that I will likely keep mine at a minus 0.25. You can see the oracle's at a minus 0.5. I might even take mine down and join. I would if there's like it won't take much. If there's a heavy push of selling that, let's just say, and Doug, this is probably right in line with your thought process. If there's like a heavy push of selling, if they push it back to the lows, I think that's enough that it would kick it to a greater than a minus 0.5. We're at minus 0.39 right now, so we're very close. It only needs like another 60 cents, basically, right? So 662.80, and this is 662.08. So yeah, we're right there. And if all of a sudden that volume kicks up and gives us another sell, I'm definitely a minus 0.5. There's no argument for me at that point. Then you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with only 1 in the middle. Clearly, that would be more indicative of the selling conviction. So we'll see how today finishes, and we'll discuss it on Sunday morning. I'm going to say this one is definitely going to maintain at least a minus 0.25, and it could regress to a minus 0.5. That's where I am. We don't tend to go look at major market and sector rotation all the way through, just because we're going to do it again. Let's just kind of take a quick peek at our other broad markets and see if they give us any indication. So let's start with the NASDAQ. Here's the Qs. And let's back it up to 6 months. I mean, they're pretty stable. They're not like accelerating in a sell-off. They haven't broken this support level. Still above the 200. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look terrible. Looks pretty neutral. Here's the IWM. You can see the IWM is it's broken a support level recently, putting it down into this range. And all the way, I don't know. That doesn't look great. Let's see where the Dow is. But it's pretty broad-based. The Dow's done about the same thing. In fact, the Dow's all the way to its 200. I don't know. I think that if I had to guess, unchanged. Major markets at 0.25. Actually, no. I'm going to say that's going to drop to 0. I think we've seen the enough time now where the Russell's like starting to be an accelerant to the downside. Betting on a close one at 666. There you go. So I think that my short-term score is going to drop to 0. Volume, if anything, stays the same, or possibly drop. Major market drop to 0. That alone has me at a 0, possibly negative 0.25. Sector rotation, I don't think it's going to get worse than it is. Minus 0.5 is already pretty bad. I don't think we've seen any like huge acceleration into defensiveness that would kick it to a minus 0.75. And volatility is at a minus 0.25. I think that's going to drop to a minus 0.5. Let's go talk about that. Anybody looked at this? What are your thoughts? VUX does not exist. Don't look for the VUX. Look for the VIX. Now, here's the good news and the bad news. Let's do bad news first. Bad news first is this has turned. This dropped down and turned. And that is higher than any of these. That is technically a higher low. A higher low. And we had a big touch of a higher high. We did both things. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we already scored the higher high there, though. So with that being the case, I'm not going to score that because it actually finished lower than it closed on Friday. But it did show us an extreme in the range. And that right there is very, very important because I'm looking at some charts and I'm saying, hey, I'm seeing some bullish things that are like nice pullbacks, could turn. If you look at this today, the market's down a little more, but where's the fear? It's nowhere near this extreme or even this little watermark right here. This up there is the high. If on Monday we stabilize again, and then on Tuesday we do this, well, this is going to go up, but it's going to then whip around right back down. Right back down. The fear is still keeping the bar above. It is. I don't disagree, Stephen. I don't disagree with you on that. And I think our score is going to reflect that. Our score is going to drop to a minus 0.5, which is representative of, persistence in the upper 20s. But at the same time, that would be a confirmed lower high. That won't get scored until the following week, but it has significance to me as soon as it occurs. As like, the first sign of... Now, that's not like a, hey, let's load up. That's a, hey, I'm definitely going to put some bullish things on. Because oftentimes the first move out of, if this is just this may just be a consolidation for all we know. 5%, I think, is that what we said? 5% consolidation as of right now. Let's figure it out as of right now. 662.43 divided by 697.84. 5%, almost on the dot. 94.9% of this high. A 5%. That's a 5% consolidation. It's a pullback still in the broader scheme. Even though we broke our prior red line trend, it's still holding a purple line trend, which is a 1-point trend. If it bounces off of that, I'm going to say, hey, the long-term trend prevailed. And if that happens, I don't think we'll, dip very far into negative territory. I mean, of course, if the conflict over in the Middle East accelerates and we see more friction for moving oil and the oil price stays high, gas price stay high, that's certainly going to spook the market. That's going to put inflationary pressures on. People are going to start to spend less in the summer, less travel. I think we're all hopeful for a short situation. Bought an April 36 VXX call so I could better understand how to use it as a hedge. Yeah, I mean, when that's exactly it. If there's a situation where I would remember that it works inversely to the market itself. Which means if the VIX is rising, the SPY is falling. And so either one works pretty well. I tend to lean towards SPY puts because, number one, they are the most liquid option in the market. The SPY is just so widely traded that there's always liquidity, always tight spreads. So, okay, 5%. We could easily recover from this. We've seen this. If we bounce from here, I think we'll have a nice recovery. And the more it looks like we may have a short wrapped up by the end of April, and that might even be, that's 6 more weeks. I think if we extend into April, the market's going to get increasingly spooked by the economic repercussions. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. And hopefully it's wrapped up before that. Hopefully they can just kind of get this thing, done. And the messaging seems to be that they're very close to achieving all the objectives. Great. Good to hear. And if the market gets that sense, I think that's going to be helpful. But what I'm saying, let me go back. Let me get rid of this and bring the VIX back up. What I'm saying is I actually feel like we're in a position to see a piece of that, like, hey, let's see if there's a bull run in anticipation of this conflict ending, or whatever it may be. We'll see it. We'll see it develop. This VIX. It will depend on whether ships can start moving. The market will not be patient. I agree with you, Stephen, that the market won't be patient. And I agree that if the market's not patient, Doug, it absolutely leads to put opportunities. Now, everything's more expensive now. Puts and calls are all more expensive now. And you want to make sure that you understand that if there was a recovery, the volatility is likely to drop. But we're paying a little bit more. What does that mean? It means you might think about things like bear call spreads, right? Or a bear put spread, some type of a spread trade where you just sort of nullify the increased volatility and protect yourself against maybe, right? Things like that. So bearish opportunities, I might say. The other thing that we might look at are things like covered calls, and right, the volatility is there. So we can sell some things. A butterfly. Any strategy right now that is Vega negative. That is a strategy that capitalizes when volatility is higher, right? So yeah, we'll keep that in mind. What does this mean for our analysis? Again, I'm projecting a minus 0.25 or maybe even a minus 0.5. So continued deterioration. Major market. See, I thought it could, actually. That's my maybe. I thought it could. I feel like that there's been enough of a heavier dip on the IWM that it could show up. You might be right. And if so, then I'll be a minus 0.25. If we do see it, then I'll be a minus 0.5. I think that's the one where I'm. So yeah, let's see. Let us see. All right, let's go to Russell. Okay, if the Russell's still leading on the 66, then I'll keep it. I'm not going to, I agree. Alcoa pulling back. Apple. Ooh, look at Apple. So you can see we're like, I don't know. We're not really looking for like, maybe this thing bounces a little. And then you can see it fell apart. Archer Daniels made a nice move, got a new high. If I was in it, I'd be closing it, looking for a pullback, seeing if there's another piece to come. AMAT could be on a hiccup. We'll see. AMKR, no. Amazon, no, not yet. But Amazon is one I'm thinking about. Why? Because look what's developing here. If this thing stabilizes and turns, my thought is maybe it makes a run back up into this zone up in here and pops up, accelerates. I'm just watching the buyers and sellers. That's it. APH. Tell me if you're in one of these or if you're thinking about one of these. If we get to a letter of a trade that you're in that we don't have in our list, throw it at me and I'll pull it up. Good to see those of you who joined after I said hello initially. ASX, maybe. You can see it kind of caught that 50 right there, and then it hiccuped. And it's trying to come out of the hiccup. So if it kind of like opens up and accelerates back out, then I'd be like, oh, you know what? Maybe I could take that. I would probably look to see if it has a Heiken Ashi candle. I bet that's more likely to be sitting up right now. Yeah, if I got this, it'll turn me white, and then I'll be able to... Because you can see it did it. The hiccup would have stopped you out if you used the Heiken Ashi too early. But it hasn't broken support. AXP. Nothing there yet. We need to see a more concise push. Alibaba, no, we got some earnings. We'll see. If we see Amazon starting to pick up, if we see Alibaba start to pick up, Bank of America. You can see there's nothing there. A lot of that going on in financials. Financials is definitely a lagging group. BCS, same pattern. But maybe trying to stabilize. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Citi, no. Not as steep, but same pattern. Industrials have kind of lost some shine. You can see Caterpillar's down. Sector bottom, Steven. You got that right. CF made a great move pulling back. Coherent. Oh. Coherent. Nice trend. Pulled back. Had a little bit of a hiccup move. Pulling back in here. I would absolutely think about this one coming out of the hiccup. Making that kind of a move. Continuing on into this trend here. Not today. Early next week. I'm looking for something like some of these to have in place if the market gets a good little pop. Cisco, no. Delta, no. Here's the Dow, no. Obviously, that's down. Dow Chemical. If you held on, I mean, you got paid. It's at its original target. It's Friday. It's overextended. You know, you're at the end of the road of the second line. Be careful. Don't. If you got paid for this, make sure you walk away a winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Ford, down. Not looking good. GE, I told you I stopped out on day one. No, this was day one. Day two. It sucked in a little bit, and then it's like time to get out. Gold, no. GM, no. Google, no. It's getting tough. We're gonna have to run some new searches, clean some things out. Goldman's down. Home Depot's down. We're seeing retail, consumer discretionary. The only sign of hope in consumer discretionary is coming out of Amazon. But we had an interesting conversation last night about the Fab 7 or whatever, Mag 7, Amazon being one of them. They are an 800-pound gorilla. So if anyone is going to pull the consumer discretionary sector up, that's the company that has the capacity to do so. Right? We're not like, Abercrombie and Fitch had a great quarter. They're going to reverse everything for all of consumer discretionary. Nobody thinks that. Right? But Amazon can. So that's important, I think. Yeah, someone asked if I'm concerned by that. And I'm like, no, when I see the Mag 7, they can carry everybody. You know, they're enormous. Here's a question. How many people do you think Amazon employs in America right now? Anyone? Almost 1 million. With some estimates putting it at over 1.1 million. Second largest employer behind Walmart. So, it's an enormous operation. Huge. A lot of companies sell through Amazon. So I think it's a representation of consumer discretionary. And Doug has a put on XLY, which is the consumer discretionary ETF. 50% drive. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, drivers, warehouse workers, there's got to be a ton of those too, you know, as they become like a drop shipping solution for companies and stuff. It's a great question what the distribution is. Here's another one that I still like. IBM on the reversal. Right? It's coming down, accelerates. We get that first buyer smash and grab. Bam! Let's take control. And then the buyers are tired. They're like, woo! That was good work, everybody. Well done. And as they take that break, all the sellers are like, we're going to take it back. Look at those little baby candles. Look at this little baby volume. That doesn't look anything like when it looked like when it had selling pressure, right? That looks more like what it looked like back here when it could bounce afterwards. Little pullback, bounce higher. Little pullback, bounce higher. So yeah, I'm looking at this thinking, maybe this is where everyone realizes, you know what, IBM is just going to pivot into AI, blah blah whatever, and bam, we see this thing recover back up. Well, I'm watching for this. Intel, but putting a trade on for Friday, nah, not for me today. IWM is down. IWM is down 0.7. Lumentum is kind of still in a little bit of a consolidation here. Lam Research. Yeah, same kind of a thing. Just sort of fell apart, tried, fallen, just sort of just not there. We continue to see momentum being lost in areas that were showing strength. But at the same time, we're also starting to see signs of early reversals that might be, the end of the market's consolidation. Autonomous will likely lose Amazon drivers their jobs. So what, like the van drives itself? But then how does it get the package? Like, I don't know. I know they talk about maybe they have like a drone that like just like flies out, drops it on the porch, and that way the drone doesn't have to fly all the way to hubs. It's like each vehicle has its own little drone. But that would only be for certain package sizes, right? Like you'd still have to have someone carry the big ones. I mean, I think that'll be crazy, right? You got drones flying around with packages. Do people start shooting drones out of the sky to steal the packages? That's like the new porch pirates. Dozens of restaurant mini delivery vehicles. And they're autonomous? But does someone have to like walk out and pick it up? And so like, does it like notify you and you have to walk out and just like grab it from the vehicle and it gives you like a certain amount of time? I'm sure there's like rules and stuff. Oh my God, I want to do that so bad. I want to order that and come pick it up. That's phenomenal. You guys are one step away from flying cars in LA. Meta down. That's not looking good. Google flat, Meta down. What are our thoughts on communication services as a group? Not good. Right? Not good. Monster. That's a big sell-off and a small recovery. Those are the kinds of things where I'm like, ooh, maybe a put there for some more selling. You can see Morgan Stanley continues to drop. Microsoft, we'd love to see Microsoft stabilize. It's been in a pretty serious downtrend for 4 months. We'd like to see it stabilize and maybe start to recover a little bit. Micron, look at Micron making a final recovery, trying to do its thing. Netflix on the list. And again, this one is also in communication services. And this one, if this holds and starts to turn, our thought is maybe it regains 110 or 115, which we can see were clearly important levels. I'm definitely. Anyone else looking at Netflix for bulls? That one can lead. Nvidia, it's too sideways now. Palantir, I like Palantir still. It broke out of this. The buyers did their thing, pushed it up. They're taking a breather. The sellers are pushing it down. They aren't having much impact. My thought is we're definitely looking for a bounce. Puts are good for now, but be careful. The buyers made a huge jump. So this might not give you that much more to the downside. My advice to you, find a nice perspective like this. It's red, but we don't want to see it turn the other way. You really want to, if you're going to stay with those puts, you definitely on Monday want to see one of these accelerating candles, right? One of these that looks like it's continuing down. Right now, it's still kind of in the transition candle mode. Love it. I love that you guys are sharing trades with me. Keep doing it. That's kind of my thought too, John. Persistence here could be a benefit. Agreed. It's a good call out. QQQ, kind of flat. Rocket Lab, kind of flat. Still very flat. Bull put, not a put. Okay. I was gonna say, be careful because it looks like the buyers are trying to say hello. Ross Stores. Ross looks bullish. I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe the spreads close up a little bit. We'll see what happens there. RTX on my bullish list, obviously. Defense. LMT, let's take a peek. LMT, very similar look. More expensive stock. We could check if the options aren't good on one. Here's NOC, Northrop Grumman. All look very similar. You can see where was I? Silver sideways coming down. SanDisk, it's come out okay. Here is the SPY. Oh, okay. So what did I say? I said, hey, we're in range. So this criteria here is now in position for a deduction. It's greater than minus 0.5. And let's see how the volume is. That's the other. Ooh, it's going to be close. We've got 11 minutes. It's at 85 average. We're at 75 now. We need 10 plus another 4.25. So basically we need 15 million. We need it to get to 90 million. We've got 11 minutes to do so. We could do it. In which case, my volume is definitely going to drop. Yeah. STX sideways, SYY. I mean, it is bouncing off of the 50. That's a maybe. Food services, TJX, pretty good, like Ross Stores. I think I like Ross better. One might have better liquidity than the other. Tesla's down. TSM, down. Vail. I mean, nothing. Everything's just sort of holding. No, nothing there. WDC, trying. Walmart, trying. There's that put Doug was talking about on XLY. Yeah, the consumer discretionary looks horrible. Horrible. Though it is close to like its 6-month low, there could be a support level we see there. Healthcare diminishing. Utilities improving. Starting to look more defensive there. Staples, not great. Technology actually looks kind of stable. Industrials had shown a lot of strength, but has given a lot of it up now. Financials looks horrible. Energy looks incredibly strong. Communication services sideways, but I'll tell you what, we're starting to see some concerns in there. And basic materials. Okay. Did I miss anybody's anything? Let me know if I did. Steven says he doesn't think volume's going to make it. Okay. It's going to be close. I agree. It could be very, very close. Very, very close. Let me get our trading plan out. Nope, not. Okay, that one's fine. That's fine. Let me pull this over, put it in. Record keeping. Oh, geez, hold on. Record keeping. Download the trade log. Download the trade log. No. Well, some of the volume doesn't register, but I'm only counting the day's volume. I'm not going to count any because the after hours doesn't register as volume per se. Right? I'm only going to register market volume, not extended hours. Yeah. But we won't know right at 4:00. There's still numbers coming in. It won't be locked in until like 4:05 or something like that. Yes, I am. So it's hard, Stephen, because I want to fix the video and put that log out, and then other things. I've just such limited like extra time for it. So right now the schedule and the links and all that's been the priority. So yes, your patience is appreciated. Your ongoing reminders also are appreciated, and we'll get it there. So if I do my record keeping, I get these analytics. I get the ability to see how often I'm right or wrong, winning percentage, losing percentage, average win, average loss, reward to risk, expectancy, Kelly, right? I get to start to see patterns and trends where I'm like, ooh, for these 25 trades, I did X and now I'm getting Y. And if Y is better, I'm like, ooh, what did I do? Let's repeat it. Let's keep doing it. Or is it just market conditions are good and I'm going to keep pretty aggressive until I see signs that the market's changing? That's absolutely a great mindset, right? The longer you have the right conditions, the more you're going to push versus saying, here's what it's going to look like when I stop. Or you might look at your record keeping and see that things have gotten worse. Your average loser is getting bigger. You're like, whoa, what's going on? For the last month, I only lost 300 and now I'm at 450. We're not going to just keep going. We're going to stop and be like, what's happening that I'm not controlling the size of my losing trades? These are the patterns that can help us. These are the patterns that can help us to make meaningful changes in our rules, right? Because as you can see, we're on record keeping now. We finish that up. We move into analytics. We start to process. As we see patterns and make observations in analytics, we move into improvement strategies. How do I get a better set of rules, routines, whatever else it may be? Well, all right, everybody. It was a small but mighty crew today. Yeah, it's funny because I tell people, I'm like, the Friday, some people love it, but it's not one of the most attended meetings. If I went and looked at the average attendance, I'd say this is maybe one of the lower, if not the lowest. So I'm always curious how people feel about this one. What do you guys think? It's a good one? It's not? I feel like checking in right before, like, do I close this trade? There's so many times when we go through and talk that I'm like, that's it. I'm closing it. Or I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let it ride based on the conversation that we're having. And so I think it's meaningful. It helps me, carry into the weekend and feel pretty confident until we go into market posture. Good feeling, Steven says. All right. All right. Well, listen, everyone. It's good to see you all. Have a great weekend. I hope you have great weather. Man, it's 64, sunny, fabulous weather here in Utah. Nice spring weather. I hope it's good where you are. I will see you guys Sunday morning. As always, happy trading.